Here we are in this little town of Fillmore, second day. I'm gonna try to drive by this old Sunkist. There is orange groves everywhere in this town. This building right here is the old Sunkist building where they brought on all the oranges to put on the trains to ship off. So there's the train track right there. I mean, can you imagine back in the day? Truckloads of oranges being brought in here. Oh, look at that standard sign in there.
Yeah. You really want to know? Let me tell you.
Well, out here walking around, there's so much cool stuff. She's got this 31 Chevy in here that hasn't been started in a long time. And we're gonna go ahead and get a battery and see if we can get this old Chevy to fire up. I know that it will certainly bring joy to her to see this thing run. I know yesterday when I fired up the torches in her dad's shop, it brought tears to her eyes and she kind of started to get emotional. That's what's so cool about coming out to these old ranches and farms and stuff and talking to these kids, and you know, when their parents have passed away, it's like I just start releasing memories of all the things that they've remembered as a child. And sometimes when their parents pass away or die, all of this kind of dies with them. It's like me, when I die, all the things that I think are so cool and my kids think are cool that I do, it kind of dies with me because I'm the one that has the passion for it and the one that really loves it a lot. But when you are a child of that, you remember all the times and the joy of like what your dad was doing or your grandfather out there really putting in the effort. And what's sad is when you die, you cannot take this shit with you. You can't take this with you. You die, you leave it. So while we're here on the planet, we might as well have as much fun as we can. And when I die, I am going to leave my kids with so much shit to have to sort through that it's going to be miserable. So anyway, it's going to be a lot of fun to sit up there in the heavens, hopefully if I go there, and watch my kids sort through all my shit and try to figure out what they're going to do with it. I think it's kind of important to me to get this car running so she can see it run one more time. And who knows if it'll ever get started again, but we're going to do it today, hopefully make it run. We don't know. I have no promises. No guarantees. We're just gonna see if it runs. Let's go. Okay, let's see if we can get this old battery in here. The car's pretty cool sitting here. So these are a positive ground system. Look at that. Chevy repair manual. Isn't that cool? Okay, this little thing, boom, boom. We gotta get to the carburetor. Let me move over to the carburetor side. Okay, good thing about this old car is that it don't look too, it's been inside. The good thing about this car, it's been inside forever. So that helps. The only thing that's about these Chevrolets, Chevy versus Ford in 1931, Chevrolet had an inline six-cylinder in them. They made more horsepower, they made more torque. They were actually a little bit fancier car. They were a independent, somewhat suspension. Each axle had its own leaf spring. So front wheel left had its own spring, right had its own spring. They didn't run the buggy spring like Model A Fords did in the front and the rear. They're supposedly rode better. The only thing that sucks about these is they're made out of wood. See how the doors sag and fall apart and the termites eat them out? That's where Chevy went wrong. If they would have made them like Dodge, there'd be a lot of these around still and they'd be very collectible. But the problem is they're all made out of wood and they fall apart, and especially if they're outside, and within 20 or 30 years, they just rot apart, and then the wind picks up and blows the doors off them and people just throw them away. It's really kind of cool to see a 31 Chevy all complete sitting in here right now. Chevrolet outsold Ford from, I believe, 29 to 31. When the 32 Ford came out with the V8, it kind of changed the game for Ford again, putting back on the map. This definitely was probably a better car back in 31 when they came out, as far as like definitely a more horsepower. And Ford never wanted to quit making that 4-cylinder because it was such a great little motor, but this 6-cylinder came out and it just started wiping them out. And then Plymouth, they came out with a Super 6 in the late 20s that made a lot of power too. By 1934, the Plymouth was such a cool car. Like, it was so much more actually than the 34 Ford. It had hydraulic brakes, independent suspension in the front, a lot of options. I mean, they were made out of metal. They were a great little car. We're getting closer here on getting this one running. Oh, let's see here. So, let's do that. Great grandfather's car, 1931
Great.
Chevy.
There's two greats there.
Oh yeah, great grandfather. So great grandfather bought this car. Yeah, that's crazy. 3 generations? 4. This is like what I guess basically needed to be done. Valve job, cam and crank, new starter and ring. There's a bunch of. You look so spry. I found this in the front seat of the car. It's your great grandpa's car.
Yeah. Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah, that's really. Look at this. I found this too. It's the Chevy manual. What's his name? How are you, Judy?
I'm just fine. Yeah, this is my husband's car. He just didn't want to work on it.
It's great that it's all complete. The Chevrolets didn't stay together very well because they were made out of wood. The interior, yeah. They rotted, so it's probably a good thing that it's been in here for a while. I don't know how long it's been sitting here, but...
He drove it in high school. It'd been sitting for ages.
Yeah, they're good old cars.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them. I mean, that's what they drove back in the 20s and 30s.
In fact, I drove it when we were first married. That was my car. And I shifted gears. And I didn't have to double clutch it.
Yeah.
He was always double clutching it, but for some reason
You
the
could
way
get
I
away with
shifted,
it, yeah.
I could get
Because you
away
were
with
nice.
it.
He was probably like, I gotta go fast. But I don't know, if we can get the thing to spin over a little bit, it might start. I don't know.
That would be outstanding.
Wouldn't it be cool to see it run? I'm trying to hook the battery up to it right now. I don't know, I think I blew a breaker on this thing. Oh wait, there we go. Okay, let me come over there and try this one more time. Okay, you ready? I wonder if I'm missing something here.
Pretty goopy, man. I'm probably got to get more in there just because it's an updraft. The fuel's just running out.
I wonder if the fuel pump works. I think I carried 2 crescent wrenches. Now you think you just need one, but really you need 2 all the time. Can't go wrong. Let's throw like maybe a gallon in the tank and see if we can get the bowl to fill up on this side. We could probably actually feed it through this hole. Maybe I'll shove some in here.
We're pumping fuel. It's pumping fuel out.
Yeah.
Just puked all that gas out of the carburetor.
I'm a country boy, then moved to the city. Them neon lights sure look pretty in the dark.
Make it do it. Okay, get your foot in here, you old man.
The return spring is sitting on the floor. Broken. No, here's your spring.
Oh, okay.
But accelerator pump's functioning, so let's give it a try.
I think it might be flooded. Maybe.
Choke's open.
Come on, baby.
It might be flooded.
We had
We
it.
may have overdid it.
We had it wanting to go. Let's tap on that. Very likely could be. The throttle is actually back here on this side. but we need return. And what happened was the spring broke off, and so we kind of pulled it out, rebent it, put it in there, so now it has throttle return. Because it was just sitting wide open. We'll see how she goes in a minute. Yeah, these little cars were made for little people.
Oh my gosh, my dad was 6'1", 6'2", long legs.
Oh yeah.
Trying to like get his legs
Yeah,
in.
and I'm like, I'm 5'9",
Yeah.
and I'm like, eh. Okay. Daddy. I would display. I think it's so cool. I would just keep it like this.
Sure, that'd be great.
Do you know what kind of money you want for it?
Can you toss out a number?
If it was a Model A, it'd be worth more money. Model Ts aren't worth as much.
I understand that.
I mean, something like this, because I honestly would never drive it, but
Yeah,
I don't know, probably like $1,500.
that's
You know what I mean?
that's where I was going.
Yeah, so I'm thinking like maybe that, and I don't know, dig around here and see some other stuff. Lindy,
Yes.
can I try to make a deal on some of these signs back here?
The ones that for me.
Huh?
Oh, well, that one's pretty cool. I can see why you'd like that one.
Well, just the beat up. Kind of all right. I don't mind it. Like these rich guys, they want the rich.
No, that's the best stuff.
I don't mind it. One way only.
I'd like to keep that so we don't do any specials at the.
Caution. Got the church on it. Keep it Christ and Christmas. Private property, pasture lorders. Well, I mean, I guess I guess I'll take the most beat up one in here. That's the only thing I can get my hands on. I think this is the one. It's another one you can't read. So basically, just gonna try to buy a piece of sheet metal.
You're smart. Here, let me write that on there. Then you can read it.
Yeah. That's cool. Is that what that was?
I think so.
Remember those? Used to.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one of those somewhere.
Of course you do. My buddies have a car club in Vegas called the Bone Shakers, and I call them the Bone Smokers.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Because they always want me to get in their car club, and I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
not going to be a bone smoker. I'm sorry. That's not my thing.
My dad did start one up. This that he has casted up here.
They
The
cast-
resurrection. He made that up because, of course, they're resurrecting the old cars.
I tried to do one like years ago. It was like these guys were like, "Oh, just get in a car." I'm like, I'm not really, a car
Yeah.
club guy. And so I go, "All right, okay, I'll try it." And they're, "Okay, what are we gonna do?" And I go, "Well, we'll come up with a cool name." So I called it the Body Snatchers.
Oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, the Body Snatchers. I got that name. I got some shirts done and stuff. And like within 2 months of being in it, I'm like, I'm out. You guys just,
Right.
there's like 2 guys in the whole freaking club that know how to work on shit. And the rest, and we're working on everybody's shit for them while they come over and drink beer.
That,
And I'm like, that's bullshit. I ain't doing that. So I'm out. I didn't last very long. But I do kind of still want that name because I like that name. The Body Snatchers. Got to keep your old ass hydrated. This steering wheel is so cool.
Yeah, it ought to be the thing.
My dad was a high school shop teacher. He had a lot of his students over here over the years, working on cars, helping them out. And as a father, just very giving, take his shirt off his back to help everyone. Always had students, everyone over here, working on cars. I think when he was 8 years old, he was starting to check things out on wheels, whether it be old vintage bicycles. The one thing I do know is when he was in high school is when he built his first hot rod. It was a 39 LaSalle, married together with a 33 Ford Roadster. The 39 LaSalle high school hot rod was a tribute to his dad. My great-grandfather purchased the farm that I live on now back in 1913, I believe. It started out with just a ranch house that was built in 1892, and it has evolved into a bunch of barns and sheds for all the old cars. I think my dad would like Steve Darnell. He would. When Steve lit up the torch that my dad would, I don't know if I can get this out. Because seeing my dad do that so many times, was pretty special. I was a little bit scared because I thought things were going to blow up because there were sparks going everywhere. It was really thrilling and exciting to see what he could do with the torch, and then to see Steve do that and bring that back was really special. I don't think everyone really knows how great these things are. Oh, let's get in there.
We've wound up with a 1927 Model T, a couple of old porcelain signs, some little trinkets out here that I just love to collect. A few of the items that I think are really cool is like a few of these porcelain signs. If you look in here, these are actual old Ford radiator caps from probably the early days, real early. This one's really cool. It's got like a green light in it. They were doing so much cool stuff back then. A couple of these old pumps. This one's pretty cool. And I'm gonna put this in my 32 Ford at home, but you don't find these very often that say Ford on them. But that was really cool. Of course, I'm a freak about spark plugs. There's some really unique spark plugs in here. You know, I've got this Auto Club sign. You can't really tell what it is exactly. I need to start cleaning it up and really look at it. I know it looks beat up, but these are one of one ever made. They didn't make these because they were a mile marker. The Auto Club SOCAL signs are pretty desirable. This one here is pretty rough, so it's not worth a ton of money, but to me, it's still worth something. Got me a head gasket right here. Copper head gasket, which is kind of cool. But these porcelain signs right here are pretty cool. There's a Texaco one there. And this one here, it says truck stalled. So what would happen is this hung on the side of the truck, and then this would be folded up this way. So when your truck broke down, you just pull that out, and then it said truck stalled. Anyway, it's pretty cool. I actually have a 1927 title for this car, which is pretty unique and doesn't happen very often on these old cars. It's very seldom that you ever find a title for them. So it was really cool that she had this title laying around. Listen, I'm at a stage in my life where I just want to travel around a little bit and go have some fun and find some cool stuff. And that's exactly what I'm doing. So I might as well share it with you. If you guys got a place that you want me to come out to and walk around and check it out and buy a few things from you, make sure you hit me up. You can do it on my Instagram, which is WelderUp Vegas. If you don't follow me on Instagram, make sure you do, because I also film whatever we're doing out here through my story. Click on the thing and make sure that you get to see all this cool stuff. See you on the next one.
Yeah. You really wanna know? Let me tell you. I'm a country boy, then moved to the city. Them neon lights sure look pretty in the dark. Follow my heart, and where let me was a hole in the ball full of women and whiskey. Got caught in a game, y'all, like a moth to the flame. I'm attracted to them dangerous things like strippers and cocaine.
I'm gonna draw a big rat right here. His nose down here, his ears, his eyeballs and his butt in the air, his legs, because this is a rat rod. I had to use green olive branches while they were still flexible to make this contour here. And there's a couple of knots that I have to belt sand off because this is all going to be upholstered over. And these top bows, I made the full set out of, oh my gosh, all kinds of bits and pieces. It's a labor of love. I just love Model Ts. And we've had so many family stories and fun and experiences and adventures. We had to use several windshield posts to weld them up to make them work for this car because I saw a set of windshield posts and windshield frames at a swap meet. The guy only wanted $350, and so nope. They were actually made, or they would fit because they were made for a 27 Touring, but you know, this is a rat rod. So we don't want stock parts that fit. We want rusty parts that were modified to fit.